Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Watch TV, the podcast about the TV we watch. I am Daniel, and this is another Supercut. What's a supercut, you ask? Well, a supercut is when we take a discussion we've had over multiple podcast episodes and bind it all together into one podcast just for that show or topic. This supercut is all about the excellent Marvel show, Loki, Season 2. We kicked off discussion of Loki in episode 38, We Got Empired.
Okay, so 2 finales down, and now a premiere.
Yay!
Loki Season 2.
About time.
About time. Feels like it's been forever.
Well, it has been. It came out in summer 2021.
Yeah.
July 2021, I believe, was the finale. So we waited a while. And we both consider this the best of the Marvel shows.
Oh,
I've
by
heard
far.
people say, they're like, and this is one of our listeners even said to me, there's too many Marvel shows. They don't know which one to watch. It's just too overwhelming. I like the Marvel shows, so I'm not going to totally agree. But I can also see why they would say that. And
Yeah.
I said, if you're going to watch any of them, watch Loki, because right now, what's going on with Loki, I feel, does have the most direct tie-ins to what's to come in the movies. I mean, we've already seen the villain from Loki show up in Ant-Man, and we know that's kind of where the Marvel movies are going. So if you're going to watch any of them, watch Loki.
It's a spoiler podcast, but I'm going to spoil things for the future that we haven't even seen yet. But the next Avengers movie, the main villain of that movie is going to be Kang, who is the villain.
Which we knew that.
Who is the villain in Ant-Man. And he was the guy we saw at the end of Season 1 of Loki, and he's going to be a major player in Season 2.
Was he in What If, too? Which we haven't even seen.
No.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay.
I'm hesitating to right now at this moment with Season 2 to say he is a villain. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you got to remember, for this character, this is a character we're actually going to see multiple in fact, we've seen multiple versions of him.
Yeah, we already have.
We're going to see different versions of him from different places in the multiverse.
Well, we know we'll get that scene that we saw at the end of Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, and I'm not entirely convinced he's going to end up being a villain, that one we see. I think there's because he in comic books hasn't always been a villain.
Well, the one that was what we saw is dead because the girl Loki
correct in Season 1, yes,
and then pushed Loki through the time travel door, obviously, but he created the TVA.
Yes.
So that's who are very villainy themselves. I see what you're saying. There's going to be different versions of Kane. Which one's a villain, which one's not? But that's definitely the embodiment of this character is going to be the villain.
Yes.
He's like your next Thanos.
Yes, for
long
sure.
term. So I'm not sure, again, that we'll see him in... I mean, we didn't see him in the premiere. We saw his likeness.
No.
And like the statues.
So the post-credits scene from Ant-Man, that version that we're going to see in this series, I'm not convinced he's an antagonist at all. They might even work with him.
We'll see.
We'll have
to see. I thought it was a good premiere. It wasn't it wasn't stellar. The best premiere I've ever had. Now, this is funny. Daniel and I were talking about this earlier in the car, and I'm like, they really just went into it. There were no time jumps, and I'm like, okay, yes, there were actually lots of time jumps.
Yeah.
But what I meant by that was it basically picked up almost exactly where Season 1 left off.
Yes.
We went right into the next scene. But yes, there are like time jump.
Yep. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think it'll be really good.
I'm excited too.
I like Loki as a character. Tom Hiddleston's a great actor.
You're either a Loki gal or a Thor girl, and I've always been a Loki gal.
And yeah, I mean, anybody who did watch Season 1 and is like us, and it's like, man, it's been forever, I'm not sure I remember it, it might be worth your time to rewatch the finale of Season 1.
I kind of wish we would have, because there was stuff I forgot. They do the previously on Loki. They do kind of catch you up, but I'd be like, oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. I kind of wish we would have rewatched it, but I'm excited to see where the next season goes. Now, what I don't like, what Disney Plus is doing right now, we thought we were going to be able to instantly watch that on Thursday.
Yeah, they're doing this 9 p.m. crap
and they did that
again.
with Ahsoka as well, and I just thought it was a special thing for Ahsoka, but now it seems like
I realize what they're trying to do is
it's not fair to East Coast old people.
Is to prevent spoilers. And give people the opportunity to watch without spoiler-free.
Maybe people shouldn't be jerks. Like, we're a known spoiler podcast. You come to us, you know that, or you can skip to the next chapter when you're listening. That's the thing. But there are people, I feel like that the first episode where Hayden showed up on Ahsoka, somebody had that posted at 9:05.
Yeah. I guess the thing Disney should worry about here is they've happened to back 2 shows together doing this that we actually really wanted to see with Ahsoka and now Loki.
Yes.
But like if they had done this stuff with Secret Invasion,
why are they so
we wouldn't have stayed up. We wouldn't have stayed up to watch that.
Why were they so mean to East Coast people? We are old. We don't want to wait till 9 p.m.
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too
West
late.
Coast people get everything.
The discussion continued in episode 39, A Biscuit Market.
All right. Well, after that, we've also watched the second episode of Marvel's Loki, season 2
on Disney Plus. What'd you think?
Better than the first episode.
Agree.
Certainly, they're building towards something. I don't know. It's just everything else that happened in that episode, and all I can think about is that McDonald's.
Same. Literally, that was my thoughts. I know we're talking about McDonald's twice in this podcast. Can we just go back to when McDonald's used to look like that?
The only thing, and I don't think, did McDonald's ever have the greenhouse?
No, Wendy's had the greenhouse.
If I could have a McDonald's
had the play place.
The play place, and it was kind of a greenhouse.
It was probably like a can of germs.
Oh, absolutely.
The ball pit of germs.
Terrible, awful, disgusting place to be.
But
But
how
yet,
fun was
something
it when
about
you got
that
to play the
look.
play place?
It was like 1979 in the episode.
Oh, I
that
thought they were in the
went back
80s.
to.
It was 79.
Yeah, but they must not have improved because that's what my McDonald's, hometown McDonald's, looked like.
Yeah, our hometown McDonald's looked like that till probably up until like 2008. Before they did that
classic
new design.
look, and they had all the styrofoam.
I'm not looking for fancy at McDonald's.
No.
I'm not looking for fancy. Don't try to make McDonald's look like a Starbucks. It's just it's McDonald's.
Okay. So for everybody who doesn't have any idea what we're talking about, the episode they're trying to find Sylvie to find out what happened at the end of season 1, because if we recall, she kicked Loki through a time door
and then stabbed
he who remains. So they don't actually know that happened. And so they're trying to find Sylvie. They torture this Brad guy who had. It was unclear. He had escaped to a timeline and become an actor.
Was that his original timeline?
Yeah, it wasn't clear that was his original timeline, or if he had just taken over for something.
And he enjoys that timeline now.
Yeah,
and it was like in the 70s where he was too, right?
Yeah, that was also.
Okay.
And so he was like enjoying himself and having a good time, and they come and capture him and interrogate him to try and find Sylvie, and they show up at the McDonald's and I think that was a branch timeline.
Because that's where she jumped to. And if you have to watch, we didn't see it until someone on the internet was like, and I'm like, oh, that's where all these TikTokers come from. You had to see the scene with Sylvie going to the McDonald's at the end of the credits of episode 1 of season 2. So
she basically is there wanting to just live a normal life. Really.
She's like working there now.
Yeah, and she seems
driving
perfectly
a truck.
fine with it. Yeah. And so they show up.
Cause chaos.
They end up finding out that the other TVA person who was in Game of Thrones is getting ready to like bomb all the branch timelines that have been created since end of season 1, and she accomplishes it. They get there just in time to stop her a little bit.
She's the woman that Littlefinger ended up with that was still like breastfeeding her son when he was like 10 years old.
Yes.
For those that don't know.
Yes, and so she ends up. I mean, she does it like.
Yeah, she does.
I saw a meme on.
She successfully eliminated a bunch of the branches.
I saw a meme on TikTok that was like, that lady just killed more people than Thanos.
Like genocide, what she just did.
She got more people
right?
more people than Thanos.
Wow.
With killing all those branches off. And so that's kind of where we ended it.
It was a good second episode. I feel like season 2, in season 1, I almost feel like I'm watching just an extended movie because
really do, yeah.
I know I made this joke last week. Yes, there are time jumps, but in terms of when sometimes you watch a finale of a season and you get to the next one, they will have, your traditional TV show time jump. This it picks right up. It's just going through it. There's really no like slowdown. I'm already seeing character growth in Loki though.
Sure.
Yay. I love Loki.
And so I think next episode, what we can expect, probably they're going to find out what happened from Sylvie.
Do you think we'll find out what Mobius's past life was? Because it seems like he's not interested.
There has been multiple trailers where they've been out in front of a jet ski sales place, and so if Mobius doesn't end up there,
at least get that man on a jet ski.
Yeah, exactly. So we're liking Loki's episode 2.
Excited to see where the season goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the season goes. The villain really hasn't even been involved.
Yeah, he might not
be
in a bunch of episodes because right now they have villains in the TVA they have to deal with.
We continue to discuss Loki Season 2 in Episode 40, You Uncultured Swine.
All
hey,
right.
we are into Loki Season 2.
Yes.
Episode 3, I believe, is what we're on now.
That was Episode 3.
There got to be 8
Kane,
episodes this season,
or
right?
a version of him. I do not know how many episodes there
this
are.
can't be halfway through the season.
It
feels like nothing's
generally,
happened.
Disney Plus is either 6 or 8 episodes the way they do it. Sometimes 5. I think I would. I mean, I agree with you. We can't be halfway, but we did get to see Kane.
Yes, we did. I've enjoyed every episode, but I feel like barely anything has happened.
We got to see what Ms. Minutes is up to, and let's just say she is a little creepy little thing now. She is into Kang.
Yeah.
Am I saying his name right? It's Kang.
Well,
right?
so the character...
Is it Kang?
Kang is a variant of this person.
Yeah, we got to see the variant.
So the person we saw this episode was named Victor Timely.
Okay.
And so the question I think I have to pose to you at the very beginning is, the very first thing we see is Renslayer showing up in his time, but like 20 years before most of the episode takes place, and delivering to him the TVA handbook.
Yes.
So the question becomes, does he ever become whatever he's going to become if that never happened?
I don't know. I think we'll find out.
It's a time paradox.
Apparently, Ms. Minutes wants him to turn her into a person, though.
Yeah,
she's a thing for him.
She's down bad for him.
She's been like she went from being a cute little cute little cartoon thing with a charming Southern accent to this thing scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, she wanted it bad.
Yeah. It was a good episode, though. I enjoyed it. What do you think of the Mobius being the guy that worked at McDonald's rumor with Sylvie? In the second
Honestly,
episode? I think that's reaching.
I think that's fans trying to reach for every little thing, and I don't know why they're doing that.
They're going down the Star Wars route, fans.
They're just like, everything has to be something, everything. And it's like, no, you know what? It could just, that's the guy that works at McDonald's with her. And it's just, what that is a way for Sylvie to get tied to emotions with the place she's at, to give her motivation later when they try to help her, to convince her to help them, because right now she's not being helpful.
No, she's not.
And she's
we did
being
get
the
some of that
opposite
classic
of
Loki humor, though, at the beginning. They had the Norse gods up, right?
Yeah.
And Loki's like he's so inaccurate, and he's
they,
like, Thor's not that tall.
Most of the episode took place in like 1895 or 99,
in Chicago,
somewhere
at
in
the
Chicago,
World's Fair.
At the World's Fair. And yeah, so they had all the different, like one of the inspirations for Epcot is World's Fairs throughout the years. So they had lots of different countries with their places.
Thor's not that tall.
And so so Norway had a place, and all the Norse gods were there, and Loki wasn't represented. And that was funny.
As well as he thought he should.
What do you think about the Ferris wheel? Because you didn't realize they were on a Ferris wheel at first.
No, that might be a Ferris wheel I might ride, though, more enclosed like that. I hate Ferris wheels. I'm like Ryan from the OC. And a Ferris wheel. Not a fan. I got stuck on a Ferris wheel once, and it was at the fair. What was I thinking? They put those rides up in like 2 hours. The guy had to hand crank us down.
That's no good.
It was not good.
That's no good.
It was very traumatic for me. And yeah, no, pass.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like Loki was my favorite of the MCU shows so far.
It's not blowing my mind.
It's not blowing my mind right now.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I don't know if it's fatigue of the MCU in general.
I feel like we waited so long for it, and now it's
I don't know what it is, but I think the MCU in general has had, and I'm not nearly as critical as most people have been.
No,
but they've definitely had a direction problem post Endgame that they haven't solved yet.
I do feel like Loki, if you're going to pick any of the Marvel shows to watch, this is one of the ones that's most directly going to be
it's
tied
going to
into
matter
the
most to the movies, yes.
I'm hopeful that it will get better, but right now, yeah, like my mind's not totally like blown by it.
Let's put it this way. Instead of watching this episode of Loki Thursday night, we finished off The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh yeah. And like we did
and
watch
we watched
Frasier,
Frasier, yeah.
It was a happy Halloween episode, and we were happy to be watching Loki in episode 41. Happy Halloween.
So what did we watch this week?
We watched quite a lot.
I felt like we watched nothing, and then I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, oh, gee.
Let's kick it off with, go ahead and get right into Loki, episode 4. My opinion, best episode of the season so far.
I mean, wow. So before we go to it, spoiler cast. It's a spoiler podcast. Everybody knows that. But if you happen to be new dropping in, it's a spoiler podcast. So
check the chapter markers.
Check the chapter markers. If you haven't watched Loki yet, go ahead and go with it. They killed Victor Timely.
Yes.
Like,
he's one
obliterated
of the versions of Kane.
Obliterated him without a second thought.
Yeah, and we already explained it last time, and you guys know if you're watching the show, he's one of the versions of Kane, the main villain kind of guy who's just popping up everywhere. And we kind of liked Victor Timely.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he didn't seem, at least at this point in time, like he had any real negative like aspirations.
Ms. Minutes is getting creepier by the moment.
Oh, for sure.
She says at the end, her last words to him is, "You will never be him." And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There was some, let's see, Renslayer just killed a bunch of people.
And Miss Minutes just was like smiling as she did it.
Yeah, she had
like
even
a big Renslayer, you could tell, was like, didn't want to do it. But
and like the guy whose name escapes me, Brad, the actor guy, you could tell it made him sick too, but he really wants to go back to that timeline where he was an actor. We had a lot of more growth from Loki in this episode. Loki said, when Thor went to Earth and he came back, I thought he had gotten soft. I didn't realize. But Loki's like, now I know. And I'm like, it's because of Mobius and things that he's
all you
learned.
all shipping those two together just need to calm down. It's not going to happen.
If it doesn't happen romantically, it doesn't need to be romantic. It'd be cool if it was.
I know.
But it doesn't need to be romantic. But that doesn't mean that Mobius hasn't had an impact on Loki and shaped Loki's mindset.
Correct, yes.
And because Loki, you see the Loki that died in, was it Infinity Wars or Endgame? Infinity Wars. He had some growth and change. But this is a different version of Loki. Again, watch the show. And I feel like really we've seen Loki actually fully change now. Like he had that understanding of like, I thought Thor had gone soft. I realized he hadn't gone soft. And then at the end, of course, it looks like they're all going to die. I don't know.
We don't know what's going to
reset. Yeah. I believe that we have 2 episodes left. I am a little concerned that they are going to fix the time, reset everything, and that this version of Loki is going to wake up, have his eyes open, and be the one that does make that sacrifice, and you're going to have that scene come out in Infinity Wars. I'm worried they're going to do that, and that this version of Loki's not, because they say, Kevin Feige apparently said Loki will reunite with Thor again, but he didn't say how, so they could very well do that, and everything's going to be erased. So I'm a little worried about that. And even if that doesn't happen, I'm worried that this version of Loki will not live. Yeah. What about you?
Do you think if they go that direction, I could see him showing up basically being like on that ship that all the Asgard Guardians were on minutes before Thanos attacks, and like he's able to have that last moment with Thor, and that be it. Do you think they somehow sneak Chris Hemsworth into this?
I don't know.
Because there has been no rumor about it.
Do you think they're going to kill Loki? Regardless, even if they don't do it that way, I don't think Loki's going to live, and I'm very upset about
I don't
it already.
I don't know what they're going to do. Honestly, I think they don't know what they're doing right now. Like they came out the other day and like confirmed Scarlet Witch died at the end of
I saw that
Doctor Strange movie.
I've been trying to not think about that.
What? Like they made.
I think that's because Elizabeth Olsen's done with the movies.
Sure, but they made that such a non-committal way for her to go. Like it was easy.
Dumb.
It was easy for them to write it out that she got out of there at the last minute.
So what do you think they're going to do with Loki? Do you think he's going to die at the end of the season? That's what I'm asking you. Yes or no?
I think a lot.
Yes or no?
Tom Hiddleston seems to want to continue doing the character.
Do you think?
No.
Okay. All right. I hope you're right, because it's going to break me if so. I think that it was a very powerful episode, and I'm going to be really bummed out, even if Loki lives, if all of this is like forgotten in the relationships that he's formed and that character growth. I'm just going to be really sad about it.
This episode was of Marvel television was up there with the episode from WandaVision where Vision says that quote about love.
It reminded me of why I like the Marvel shows.
Yes. Yes.
It brought it back to what had really been missing. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go, but I'm a little nervous about it.
I mean, let's think about it for a second. Loki as a character has been with us for almost as long as there's been an MCU. Like he was introduced in the first Thor movie and has been a villain or a anti-hero for almost the entire ride.
And I've been a Loki gal from day one.
So he's probably he might be one of the older, like if you check the MCU characters still with his normal like original actor going.
I will definitely be interested to see how they're going to wrap this up in 2 episodes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I hope they're long episodes.
After taking a few weeks off, we finished up Loki season 2 in episode 43. Raspberries Aren't Blue.
Okay, so Daniel, we finished up let's get into our shows. So Loki season 2, we actually left you last time we left you guys off. We hadn't seen the second to last episode, so we watched both of those, including the finale.
Episodes 5 and 6, which is
only 6 episodes.
Yeah, only 6
rubbish.
episodes. Yeah, but they were 6.
They were
great
amazing.
Episodes.
When the first episodes of Loki started, I was like, okay, I really set the bar high because I kept telling everybody, like, Loki, like, I love Ahsoka, but, like, I still stand strong. Loki's my favorite Marvel show. It's my favorite Disney Plus show. And I'm like, am I still going to feel that way? Yes. Even though it's probably gone forever. I think it was the best, or is the best Marvel TV show on Disney Plus. Probably the best thing I've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since Endgame. And it's my favorite, even though I loved Ahsoka so much with Anakin. I'd say, collectively speaking, I think thus far in the history of our Disney Plus, it's probably still my favorite Disney Plus show. What about you?
I agree. I would go. I'm going to go a little bit farther.
Okay.
Best Marvel TV show, without even,
yes, without
and I'm counting all seasons 1 and 2 as a collective whole
yes.
now. Best Marvel TV show.
Agreed.
Best thing on Disney Plus. Best thing Marvel's done since Endgame.
Since Endgame, yep. So that's what I said.
In my top 3 Marvel stuff, period.
And so you're including all the TV shows, all the movies.
Everything, yes.
So what's your number 1? I know how much
I don't rank things. But in my top 3, Marvel or Loki season 1 and 2.
But what's in your other thing then if you don't rank things?
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Okay, you stole that from me.
And Thor Ragnarok.
Really? Right, you're one of those. There's some
Thor Ragnarok is undeniably excellent.
I agree. It's a really good movie, but there's like a whole like sect of Marvel fans that like they are like that is their top tier. They're obsessed with Thor Ragnarok.
Because it's a great movie.
The first Thor best.
I love the first Thor too. I haven't seen the second Thor in a while, but I like all the Thor movies. I like Thor as a character, but Thor Ragnarok in particular is. They went too far with Love and Thunder on the comedy side. Thor Ragnarok is the perfect mixture of serious, but also a little bit of the comedy.
Wait, Love and Thunder, wasn't that the most recent one?
Yeah.
That you thought it went too far on the comedy? I thought that was depressing as heck.
That's what I mean. It was off tonally because they were trying to joke about every single thing, but it was a very serious tone. It was just
movie, yes.
It was a flawed movie. I don't dislike that movie as much as a lot of other people do. But so for me, the top 3 Marvel things now, and I'm fully aware. I'm saying this with the existence of Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, see, I count that as one movie.
Okay, what I'm saying is my favorite things Marvel has done are Winter Soldier, Thor Ragnarok, and Loki season 1 and 2.
Our number 1 is the same for sure. Captain America: Winter Soldier is top tier.
I didn't say that was my top 3.
Oh.
I said in no particular order.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Now we're getting into like the nitty gritty. I think that I don't know if I put it in my top 3 ever. Maybe. It's hard for me to compare the shows to the movies and one thing, especially since it's been a while. But I actually, because I like Loki so much, I might tend to agree with you there. I really like Endgame and Infinity War. See, I think that's kind of the same movie. Endgame
I agree.
tied everything
like part
up.
1, part 2. Yeah.
I have a very fondness in my heart for the very first Guardians I loved all the Guardians movies, but the Guardians of the Galaxy, the very first one, I knew nothing about it at all, and I thought that was one of the most fun movie experiences I've ever had. All the music, and it was just great getting to know them. So I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't. I'm just going to do a top 5 that I would put Loki in my top 5 because I got to have the Guardians in there. But this could be a whole separate podcast where we just rank Marvel stuff.
If we're taking 5, the first Guardians and the third Guardians are probably up there too in the conversation because the third for completely different reasons. Because like you said, the first Guardians was really just like this excellent ride from start to finish about these characters that. Let's be honest. I didn't know anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I didn't either.
And Guardians 3.
Oh, so good, but so sad.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about Loki. So I just want to preface and say there's a lot I'm not going to get into it. I've had a lot going on in my personal life. this past week or so, so I was probably even more emotionally charged than usual when I sat down to watch Loki. I wasn't mad, but like I was so upset and distraught, and I'm still very sad about it. But I did not expect to cry like I cried. And I was like, I really want to punch Kevin Feige in the face.
You were actually
really kind of
outwardly mad.
I wasn't. Yeah, it was like mad. I was more mad because okay. So looking back, I think I had such a charged reaction because I love the character of Loki so much. And I think that Loki has had the best character arc in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No question.
Including all the villains, all the good people, all the gray areas, everything. The best arc. And I love him so much as a character. I wanted him to have happiness. And I was just so frustrated by and it was a great transition. Him walking out, he transforms into his like outfit, but now it was like the hero transformation. Yeah. He finally got his throne, but at what cost? All he wanted, and he said it in the second to last episode, he's like, I just want to be with my friends. And he finally, but now he has to make the sacrifice. He's burdened with his glorious purpose.
And burden comes first on that.
Yep. So now Loki literally is all alone, is never probably going to see Moby. Well, he can see him, but they're never really going to probably hang out together again. And I was just really upset because I'm like, why do we always have to have all these like self-sacrificing moments in these Marvel shows? Like, why can't we make the sacrifice and then find a way to just have joy and everybody be happy together at the end? And like I said, I've had some other things going on, which I'm not going to get into. So I think I was extra emotionally charged while I watched that, but I was a little ticked. You're like, a little? Like, I was like, someone go get Kevin. Like, I want to yell at him.
Because you can tell when I'm enjoying a TV show.
Yes.
And I had a smile on my face. I had that smile on my face.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
I had that smile on my face that gave away that I really liked what they did. And you were ready to smack that smile off my face at the end of the episode.
He's all alone, Daniel. He's all alone on the throne. All he wanted to be with his friends. He's come so far. He's had so much character growth, and this is it. And yes, that's the ultimate character growth, because you see Loki, who starts off as kind of a selfish character, and he wanted to be with his friends, but he knew he had to. He finally gets his throne. At what cost? He's burdened with his glorious purpose, and you see him kind of smile when he can see like Mobius going off to his whatever life with his jet ski.
Most of the endings for the characters outside of Loki was left very ambiguous as to what they were really going to be doing. So I don't think we can hide it. I thought it was a brilliant finale.
Very well done finale. I will say this: I think that we could have squeaked out another episode, because suddenly it was like we hit the pedal to the gas, and I'm like, okay, this is going by really fast. And suddenly we're like, oh, well, they have Loki. We learned he controls the time slipping.
Yep.
He learns about like physics for like 100 years or something.
Yep.
And it just seemed like suddenly it was like, okay, we gotta, it was like, oh, Miss Minutes is like, time's a ticking. We gotta hurry up and wrap it up. And I think that sometimes shows are guilty of that, where suddenly they're like, okay, we've drawn this out. Now we've got to put the pedal to the metal. And I think this could have actually benefited for a little bit more time, maybe a longer episode. I don't know. Do you think that we will see them again? Because they kind of indicated that we're not going to see in Tom Hiddleston, because they're by the way, the strike is over for the actors.
Yeah,
because I was about to say Tom Hiddleston just in time.
They can finally talk about their shows.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that there are opportunities for Loki to come back, but I also think that they did sew up his story. It's a very melancholy note, in my opinion. I was promised that he and Thor, they will, what did they say? They will have their time in the sun again or something. They said that it wouldn't be the last that we'd see of them. I would really like to see Thor and Loki together again on my screen. Like, obviously, think about it though. Both Lokis, the Loki that died, and it was died in Infinity War, right? Also died a hero.
Yes. And
then, so both times Loki has ended up dying a hero, but it's just sad. I would like to see Thor like proud of him and know that he's like the Norse god of like stories now, right? With the tree.
Something like that. And he's in Yggdrasil, the tree. I thought that was a particularly beautiful thing they did there with the whole sacred timeline going from like the continuous line into
and you
the
just
tree
have
of
him
the life.
smile at the end. What do you think his little smile at the end? It was just almost like a sad, bittersweet
Because he
smile.
saved his friends, and that's what he wanted to do.
And he had
has
glory
friends to
purpose.
save for the first time in his life.
I really wish that he could have had more time and gotten to be with his friends and had a little happier ending. And I was really upset about that. I was very emotional because I love Loki so much. Loki and Anakin, those are like my two, and I've always been a Loki gal. I remember when we first saw the first Thor, you like turned to me and you're like, "You're going to be one of those, aren't you?" And I was like, "One of what?" You're like, "You like Loki better than Thor, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." I love Loki. I've loved him from the very beginning. And it's just, I want more.
Well, I want more as well. I really would like to see more of Loki show up in different MCU.
Yes.
But if Tom Hiddleston's not going to be there,
then I don't know.
Then I don't want it.
I wouldn't mind seeing Sylvie again a couple times.
Yeah, but she's not.
I was so upset at one point, and I was like, I'd have just killed Sylvie. Just kidding. I was like I said, I was very emotionally charged. I would not have killed Sylvie. That would not have been the right move. I was very sad because I just wanted Loki.
Yeah.
I can recognize that it was a great finale, a great show, and still be bummed out at my Loki
Sure.
and wanted more for him.
But also be happy because ultimately, like, he completed the hero journey
Yes.
from true villain. Like, he was the villain of
Okay.
Thor. He
But
was
he
the
had good
villain of
motivation.
the Avengers, the first Avengers
know,
movie.
Okay, these are just little tiny details. He's still always.
But I'm just saying.
You could
I'm
see
not.
why he did the things he did. What murder? He's really come very far.
I really liked.
Why does all the heroes' journeys, though? Why do they all have to end sometimes in loneliness?
They don't all end like that, but I think that Loki's was in particular.
Yes.
I just thought that the ending was really nice. I also really enjoyed the revisiting of the finale of season 1 with the He Who Remains and that whole dynamic shift and understanding that he'd been kind of like He Who Remains had been manipulating this situation
The entire time,
even after we so-called thought he died in season 1 when Sylvie stabbed him.
I feel like they found a loophole because I know there's been some issues with that actor. I feel like they sort of found a loophole that they could recast if they wanted to.
Yeah.
With how Loki ended. I don't think they're going to. I think
I don't know what they're going to do.
Did that issue? I'm not even sure. Did that issue get resolved?
No, it's still ongoing in the courts. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they know what they're going to do.
That guy's
yet.
a really good actor, but I mean, if he did do that, what he's accused of doing, that's not great at all.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors is who we're talking about here, and he has been accused of some domestic violence.
Yes. Which is not cool.
It's not cool.
Don't do it.
It's still being litigated in the court system.
We're not lawyers.
I'm not gonna attest as to one way or the other. Mm-hmm. He is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
But
obviously
if he did these things, he needs to be not in the MCU, and Marvel's not going to let him be in the MCU.
Yeah,
but I don't know what they're going to do right now because he really is the big bad they've been setting up for multiple films, especially the way that character works from the multiverse standpoint.
Done a better job setting him up than they did Thanos.
I think if
you weren't like a comic book person, you were like, who the heck is Thanos and why do I care?
I think you're right. They have some wiggle room with the way that character is innately, like multiversal, and they've already shown us with like No Way Home, the Spider-Man movie No Way Home, that you can have the same person look completely different because we had Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, get his name right. That's our millennial
Spider-Man.
And
the other guy.
It's Peach Spider-Man.
And the other guy, all Peter Parker, all Spider-Man, all look completely different. So it's not unfounded. You're not
going to do your Pete Spider-Man thing you do every time. I was doing that for you.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Oh, so that's just reserved for me.
Yeah.
Anytime I talk about Spider-Man, Daniel's like, you mean Pete Spider-Man? Constantly in my ear.
So I do think they could get themselves out of that. The problem is, they would be leaving behind a great actor. Now, of course, if he is also a piece of crap of a person, then yeah, I agree they should leave him out. So
on a lighter note, when I did go back and see those old clips of Tom Hiddleston from like the first Thor, because the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, he hasn't aged at all, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they all look so young.
Well. Yeah,
and then you realize how old that movie is.
Remember, like, we've had this discussion before about callbacks. and how they can sometimes be overdone or they can sometimes be
off.
great. That was a...
Oh, wait, what does he say? He said, for all of us, or something.
For you, for all of us.
For all of us.
He was looking at Odin originally when he did that, said
saying
that.
it in rage.
In rage, and this time he was saying it to Sylvie and to Mobius.
Yes.
And it was in love. And that
Mostly
was
to Mobius because he loves him the most.
Perfect way to wrap up his relationship with those people, and it was a perfect callback, and like you said, best character arc of the MCU, and it's not even close.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
You see in that moment where Loki realizes, I'm the one that's going to have to go out there and do it. Yep. And that there's this moment of sadness, but he knows that he's for all of us.
Well,
and
you can see
very powerful.
When he's talking to He Who Remains, and he has this moment of clarity where he's like, oh, if I'm going to keep... my choice is take He Who Remains' spot and kill Sylvie.
Yes.
Or let Sylvie kill He Who Remains, and this whole chaos thing that
just
takes off that eventually leads to everybody dying.
Everybody dying, all the branches dying.
And you have this, you see this moment of clarity when he realizes there is a third option, but what that third option means for him personally.
And that's a difference between the Loki that we first met.
Yes.
And the Loki that we know today, that he made that ultimate sacrifice. My wish is this. Well, one, I would really would like to see him and Mobius reunite, because Mobius was kind of like his Jane, so to speak. He was like, I never.
You just want to see him kiss.
No, it doesn't have to be romantic, but it was Mobius was essentially his Jane. Like, obviously Sylvie helped with character growth, but Mobius, I mean, he even said it, like, I didn't really, realize why Thor even cared.
Yeah.
I thought he had gone soft. And Mobius kind of changed Loki's, mind on some things. So I'd like to see that, but I really do want to see, I think as a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, devoted, a Loki fangirl, I really want to see him in Thor. If they could just find a way.
What I would like to see.
Could they give us a Lord of the Rings goodbye at the end of all these films where we just do all these callbacks and it's like 30 minutes of just goodbyes and we could put it in there? Please. A Lord of the Rings goodbye is what I want.
I think it would be really nice if at some point when, like, it's up in the air if Chris Hemsworth is even playing Thor ever again. But if it's to happen, it would be really nice for his character of Thor like Loki has pretend died like 3 times now, and Thor has been mad about it every time he comes back. And the Ragnarok was the scene, I think you saw that TikTok, where he was like, I mourned for you, all this stuff, like I really thought you were gone. It would be really nice if we could get a scene of Thor just getting to see what Loki has actually done and really get that closure of, oh, my brother has, that would be great. And get those two actors back together one last time.
It would be wonderful.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but
Make
again,
it happen.
Listen, if Marvel and Disney are swimming in cash. If they want it to happen, they can pay these guys to come in for 5 minutes of work.
I would hope so. Now, obviously, I don't think we have not seen the Marvels yet. I think I would know at this point if there was any Loki mentions in that. You've apparently already ruined the post-credit scene before you even saw the movie. So, have you heard any rumblings about Loki in this? Like, I think that would have already been spoiled by now.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because I've already seen she's in it, right?
Yes.
Is she a love interest?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe that's just a TikTok fan video I saw.
So.
Sure. So anyway, if you haven't watched Loki yet.
If you haven't watched Loki season 1 or season 2 and you're a Marvel fan, what are you doing? It's the best thing Marvel's done since Thor Ragnarok.
And I do agree with some people. They're like, oh, we're so oversaturated with Marvel shows. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to watch. If you're going to watch, I think the Loki is the one that's going to be most integrated into the movies. It's the only one that's going to matter. And it's the best one. So if you're going to choose, watch that one. And
I loved WandaVision. I thought WandaVision was excellent.
Me too.
But if you want to, Loki is the only thing I would tell anybody is required viewing for if you're just going to watch the movies.
Thanks for listening to this episode of We Watch TV, a podcast about the TV shows we watch. You can find more from Hope and Daniel on Instagram at We Watch TV Podcast. Drop us a line if you like the show, have a question, or a recommendation. You can find Hope on Twitter at Lil Runner and Daniel on Twitter at The Real Hobo Dan. Music for today's podcast was provided by Your Tunes from Pixabay. Artwork was created using the AI program Midjourney with prompts written by Daniel.